What does a world champion clay shot like to do in January? Go shooting. We're out on Sam Green's Norfolk shoot. He said duck. I thought he meant mallard. I thought he meant bang, 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 mallard. We're also in Leicestershire to join top game chef José Souto for a whipped up day over pointers.
Let's start with the excuses now, shall we?
We're giving away a £1,679 shotgun, a Browning Maxus II. Find out more about that. Ian Bell from BASC is on the podcast talking about the value of shooting. Spoiler alert, it's £3.3 billion. And David is on the new stump, coming to you from, well, sadly, not my family seat. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
I am out bright and early on a lovely frosty morning in Suffolk for a game shoot organised by world champion clay shooter Sam Green. It's a chance for a group of Browning staff and sponsored shooters to try the company's new 825 over and under on-driven pheasants and partridges, UK style.
Beautiful, sparkly, frosty morning. Perfect for me shooting in Breckland area of Suffolk. It's just the way the ice hangs off the trees and the bushes is just gorgeous. I've got a looming, slightly nervous presence behind me. That's Sam Green, world champion shot, and this morning he's desperate we get out and get shooting, and here we are messing around, handing out guns. It's the new 825 from Browning, and yeah, he wants us to get out there because he reckons all the birds will disappear in about half an hour, so we better get on.
Sam places the guns for the first drive, and we're off. We are used to seeing Sam at the Clayground. He is in his element directing a game day.
Yeah, clay shooting is my hobby, and that's what I do, and this is my passion. So, all shooting is my passion, but this is where I like to be, and doing the birds from 8 weeks old, having the poults come in to right at the point of where someone's shooting them. That's what I like to do. But this year, hopefully going to do a lot this year. We're going abroad a few times, and going to have quite a good year on the clays, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Among the guns is another world champion, Amy Easman. She is using the Sporting Clays model of the 825, which she will be shooting in competition this season.
I just started putting a few more down the barrel, just to get used to it before the clay season starts. But so far so good. It seems so similar, but at the same time so different at the same time. I think the balance is different compared to my old gun, so it's just trying to change almost a little bit the way I would normally take on a target, and allowing my hands to do the work more than pushing into stuff or anything like that.
Next is a duck drive. The birds are jumpy, so we take up position around the pond in silence.
They're all lined out in a kind of pack at the end of the pond, and I've got to be very quiet. We've been told to be very quiet. And I'm going to keep looking that way because something might suddenly come this way towards us. This is the duck shoot. Now, some people don't like duck. I do like duck, but I have to consciously make sure I don't have that kind of red mist moment where I'm just going bang, 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 bang. So just, it's breathing exercise. It's choosing your duck and making sure you enjoy the drive that way, for me. Well, I have to say, I got that completely wrong. He said duck. I thought he meant mallard. I thought he meant bang, 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 mallard. This was wonderful, whooshing packs of teal coming past and a couple of geese. So someone's got a goose. This this is a kind of duck drive I really like.
After 11s, Darren Stamford finds himself on the end of the line. He regularly shoots in Sam's squad at competitions. Today he's trying the Browning 825 for the first time.
I use the same gun for shooting. Clays, game, whatever I do, I stick to the same gun. Chopping and changing about just isn't my thing. This is the 825 game, 30-inch barrels. Quite short in the stock, if I'm honest, for me, but yeah, a fantastic game gun. This is the 4th drive today, and to be honest, I've shot probably some equally as good birds with this today as I would shoot with my own gun on a normal day. A couple of nice left and rights, just had a lovely nice teal. Everybody loves their own gun, of course. I'd be quite happy to use one of these all the time, to be honest.
After a break for lunch, Sam has a surprise up his sleeve. The next drive is a test of snap shooting with the guns placed between 2 huge stacks of straw bales, where the birds appear overhead without warning.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're fairly high. So once the partridges are zipping across them, they do make some good shooting.
It's a real eye-opener for the Browning guys and girls who have never shot anything like this before.
Yeah, I think it's the first time they've been over here shooting game. I think it's very different to what they do. Hopefully they've had a good day and a good experience. But yeah, it's been enjoyable from our side as well. Yeah, it's been just a nice day. It's been a cold day, but it's been good.
There is plenty of interest in the new guns, although it will take a lot to persuade Sam to switch from the Browning 525 that has done so well for him at both game and clays.
I haven't tried it. Obviously, all the guys today have been shooting the 825. What I've seen of it and looked at it, I picked it up. Yeah, it's a beautiful gun. The engraving on the bottom of it. Everybody that shot them today, not even the Browning guys, the other guys that we've invited, they've shot them. They've all good comments. They've all come back like really happy, and I do like the look of the gun. For me, they're a little bit slimline. I do like the 525, but then I've been shooting a 525 for probably 15 years, and yeah, it's sort of old habits. Yeah, I'm not going to come away from the 525 just yet, but I can see the attraction on the 825.
Well, you can probably see happy people behind. 200 bird day, but not just mainly partridges. There were teal, Canada goose, woodcock, jay, pigeon, pheasant, all sorts. And yeah, this is what shooting's all about, I think. It's day out with friends, community. It's beautiful weather, beautiful scenery, a lovely end.
For more about the Browning 825, go to browning.eu and check out our other films about the new gun, links in the description below.
Thank you, Sam and Sarah, Mrs. Green, for fixing that day. And if I didn't say it out loud, watching Sam shoot is a pleasure. Now, what's in this week's Fieldsports Extra? Young mums learning to pluck and draw pheasants, a woodcock shoot, and an enthusiastic Belgian.
Wow, I love it.
This week's Fieldsports Extra competition is for a Browning Maxus II shotgun tied in with our British shooting show stand E16 this weekend at the LEC Birmingham.
So you need to come and find us on the Fieldsports Channel stand E16 at the Great British Shooting Show 2025. Of course, we'll have many of the guys from the presenting team, and even Neil's coming down from the Highlands, complete with kilt. If you're curious about our membership or Neil's kilt, we'll explain why it's important to join the fastest growing, probably, coolest, definitely, membership in the country, now with insurance. As well as all the membership benefits, new sign-ups at the show, current members and anyone else signing up during February 2025 will be put in the hat to win a brand new Browning Maxus II. Also, we'll be showing off the latest kit available to be won through Fieldsports competitions in the February draw. And finally, one special guest will be on the stand on Friday and Saturday, and maybe Sunday. It's our not-so-secret legal eagle, Layla. She'll be on hand to deal with any concerns and talk generally about the baffling but genuine reasons the police are using to grab your guns. See you soon.
Thanks, David. And David is back. More semi than auto. It is David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. BASC's letter-writing campaign about gun certificate fees is working. Following lobbying by constituents, some 44 MPs and members of the House of Lords have signed a letter against rises in shotgun licence fees and sent it to the Home Secretary. On the day the new fees came into effect, Wednesday the 5th of February, only 7 out of 42 constabularies had committed to guaranteeing that at least some of the funds they raise would go towards improving firearms licensing. The fees last rose in 2015.
Increasing efficiency and giving more money to firearms licensing was the government's reason for putting these fees up. However, the government has no power to insist upon police forces using this extra money for these fees. So consequently, what will happen is that there is no guarantee that certificate holders will get an increased service and better efficiencies for the massive increase in fees that they're expected to pay.
The Irish government has formed a national farmers co-op to help control deer numbers across the country. It awarded the tender for deer management strategy programme manager to Farm Relief Services, backed by 15 local deer management units to be set up across the country. It plans to concentrate its efforts on deer densities in Wicklow, Tipperary, Waterford, Donegal and Galway. Campaigners have expressed disbelief as an animal charity funded by the taxpayer has partnered with a furry event where people wear themed fetish and erotic suits. According to the Daily Mail, Saving Wildcats, a collaboration between the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland and SNP government agencies such as NatureScot, is the official charity of ScotiaCon, a convention held annually in Glasgow, attended by around 1,200 furries, dressed up as anthropomorphic creatures. In 2021, Saving Wildcats received $400,000 in funding from the Scottish Government. A former grouse moor, now owned by the RSPB, will become a Pennines paradise for nature. That's the claim in a post designed to raise funds for the conservation organisation. The bird charity says it's already achieved so much over the last 30 years at Geltsdale in Cumbria. Local critics of the project point to the loss of rare species on the site, including hen harriers, black grouse and red squirrels, since the RSPB took over the moor in the late 1990s. In 2006, Geltsdale was taken off Natural England's list of known breeding sites for hen harriers. 2 years later, Natural England found it had the lowest population of moorland birds in the North Pennines, below all the nearby managed grouse moors where shooting continues. The RSPB says we are now able to go bigger and better. Locals point out the charity couldn't do any worse. BASC has put out a film showcasing its relationship with the media. In the film on YouTube, BASC press officers talk about their roles advising the media on the benefits that shooting sports bring to conservation. And there's a shout out for BASC from Sky News political editor Martin Brunt. Scottish First Minister John Sweeney has ruled out the legal introduction of lynx into the wild in Scotland. At the NFU Scotland conference, Mr Sweeney said the reintroduction of lynx or any other carnivorous species would not take place under his government. Campaigners have been working on plans for the controlled reintroduction of the cats to benefit rural biodiversity, but farmers have raised concerns about the impact they would have on livestock. Meanwhile, a farmer in Norway took the law into his own hands and shot a lynx that had been taking his goats. The farmer used the Section 28 emergency self-defence right for livestock to shoot the animal. Thanks to Neil Rowntree and Per Helmseth for the story. A German has died in an elephant attack in India. The incident, filmed by a passenger on a local bus, took place in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Michael Jürgen, aged 77, a tourist from Germany, riding a motorbike, tried to pass the elephant, even though locals were shouting at him not to. The animal turned on him and pushed him off the motorcycle. Passers-by took him to hospital for first aid. After transfer to a larger local hospital, he died without responding to treatment, says the local forest department. Thanks to Rajiv Matthew for the story. US hunter Craig L. Kaufman has brought out his memoir. Craig takes the reader in pursuit of big game in destinations around the world. Called An Unexpected Journey, with a nod to the Hobbit films, the book is a catalogue of hunting adventures.
Well, I've had a chance to hunt the world for almost 40 years, and during all my journeys, I kept journals all along the way. So I had a whole history of my diaries from early 1990s to current, and all that information was really good genesis to create a book like this.
And finally, a heartwarming story. BASC has donated camera equipment to a charity which provides filmmaking and multimedia training for youngsters in South Wales. In a deal brokered by Fieldsports Channel, the gift included video and audio equipment no longer used by BASC's media team, but which still has an appreciable value as an educational tool. The equipment will get a new lease of life with Cymru Creations, a not-for-profit company which specialises in media and history-themed community activities. One of its flagship projects is the Blaenau Gwent Film Academy, which teaches film skills to children and young people.
The way we make our films has changed a lot over the last few years, so we needed to find a new home for some of our film equipment. We're absolutely delighted that Cymru Creations could give it a new lease of life, and we're so pleased to be able to help the filmmakers of the future.
You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David, who requests all viewers to like this video and subscribe to Fieldsports Channel. Thank you. Now a word from Leica. Next up, we're off to Leicestershire to hunt, point and retrieve. Top game chef José Souto is a keen falconer. He uses his English pointer Izzy to find game for his birds to hunt. He's keen to learn how other gundog breeds work in the field and what they bring to a walked-up day.
I've always wanted to know more about basically how dogs work with basically on walked-ups. When I was a kid, I used to do a lot of walked-up stuff. And I had friends in Spain, I've done a lot of walked-up stuff. I don't do a lot of walked-up shooting nowadays. I tend to basically do falconry. So I've got goshawks and I've got peregrines, which I work with Izzy. And this is Izzy, my pointer. But there are different dogs that obviously are used for different things. I have used my English pointer, the one I've got here today, with guns, and we're going to try and have a go and do that today. But I've got some guys who are experts with me today. And I've got Dan and Paul from Higscroft Gun Dogs, and they're here today basically taking out another two dogs. So we've got a Springer Spaniel and we've got a Golden Retriever, which are basically going to come out with us today. We're going to put them through their paces, a little bit of walked up stuff. Going to see what we can do. The birds are a bit jittery. We're getting towards the end of the season. It's that sort of time. The weather's not too bad today. You know, it's not raining at least. Yeah, it's a bit grey, but we'll give it a go and see what we come up with.
Dan is shooting his Browning 725 20 bore, while Paul has a Browning Heritage 12 bore.
Not the best shot, so it gives me a bigger pattern.
Let's start with the excuses now, shall we? All right. We're using a variety of different cartridges, all ED cartridges we're working with, and the Eco Wads. Personally, myself, I love to use the Eco Wads and use steel. Again, some of the time, the basically birds that I shoot, I tend to basically use for the birds that I've got. So if I use steel, I haven't got to worry about that. And on top of that now, with basically all of the developments with cartridge, I think the Eco Wads are as good as any cartridge you can get out there with steel. So we've got some VIP steels, we've got some of the high bird loads, which I don't think we'll use today. And then we've got some of the pigeon loads, and I've also got some of the 20 bore loads. One of the things you've got to remember is that be very, very careful when you're using 20 bores and 12 gauges. I don't mix them because I keep them very separate. I've got two different cartridge bags which I keep them separate for. And if I'm taking one gun out, I only take one cartridge out, and then I'll swap over, make sure I clean out the bag. So something very, very important with gun safety, we don't mix them up. So we're just going to have a walk around and see what we can bag. So then hopefully I can take it home and cook it. So what we're going to do, we've left my dog in the car. And the reason for leaving her in the car is obviously I'd prefer to work her on the open ground as opposed to basically stuff like this. Your dogs are obviously better for this sort of thing.
The Springer Spaniel's job is to work the cover in close proximity, so what I call shooting distance, or you would call it quartering, okay, to work the cover as we're going along, potentially flush what's there. Her job is to stop on the flush to give us chance to shoot, steady on the shot, and either we can send my retriever to retrieve or we can send the Springer to retrieve. She's covering the cover beautifully though.
Yeah.
A joy to watch.
I was just about to say that.
Three to my
That was mine.
Right, good.
That's the first thing I shot with this one.
Done a nice job of that. So that was a classic there. So a nice flush from the Spaniel. She was steady on the flush for us to get a nice shot. My dog was obviously steady at hill, waiting for his command to be sent. The Spaniel stayed there really, really well. He did a lovely job of marking that, got into the cover, picked it with confidence, nice gentle mouthed delivery to hand. Perfect scenario.
Brilliant.
Now that the Spaniel and Retriever have shown what they can do, Jose wants to give his pointer a run. He puts the gun away and fetches Izzy from the truck.
She's only about sort of 3-4 years old. There is an adage that falconry guys tend to have really, really good birds, but when it comes to dogs, we tend to have mediocre or bad dogs. So I'm going to see what she's going to do today. I mean, Izzy is at that age now where she's starting to calm down. Pointers will normally take about sort of 2-3 years really to come into their own, especially for me, because I'm not working all the time. With me, it normally always takes me about sort of 2-3 years to really get them going well. And Izzy's at that point now where she's going quite well. She's basically listening. She's not trying to second guess me all the time. And also she's good on game. I mean, normally I'd work her on pheasant and partridge. Here, go on. Good girl. Oh. There you go. She's on.
Izzy is finding scent, but the birds are no longer there. We move on to try another field.
The wind's coming up the field, so basically for my dog it's perfect. Basically for that the winding of the game. She got in on a point, then she started coming on the point, and then she sort of looked over her shoulder at everybody and she got a bit nervous because she sort of came off the point. Now, for me, the reason for that is basically, obviously, with Izzy, when I'm working her with the birds, and the only person who really approaches her is me. So when she's sort of looking around, there's 3 other people walking around and thinking, what's going on? She's not gun shy, because I've shot over her before, but she sort of like was a bit like, oh, but then she came back onto the point, and she put in a really nice point above me. And I come in behind her, and as I come in behind her, we stepped forward. Obviously, we've already said, the birds are really jittery this time of year, right, as we're getting towards the end of the season. And it flushed, and you got it. So, yeah.
It was a nice shot.
Yeah, and then
a nice retrieve by the golden retriever. Yeah, absolutely, nicely to hand.
So as what we said before is basically with pointers, classically before, the pointer would basically find it, point it, flush it, and then hold back. Yep. And then another dog would be sent in, like a retriever or like the spaniels were basically sent in to retrieve the birds. Yep. It was never their job to go and pick up, although some of them do, like we've talked about this, but it was never their job to pick them up. Yeah, my one will retrieve to a certain point, but to tell you the truth, I don't want her to. We're meeting with the birds. Her thing is to basically find them, flush them, and just stand there and watch me as it goes past. That's her job. Yeah. Yeah, and she did that really, really well. I was really chuffed with her today, actually, because, like I said, I've not done a lot of shooting over her, so I was quite happy.
No, she worked really, really nicely, I thought, and that point was, textbook.
Fantastic day learning a lot about dogs and about different dogs and how they're used. Thank you very much for bringing your dogs in and give us an insight into both dogs that you've got there, and to basically see the dogs working out in this sort of situation rather than in a driven shoot, worked up and working through woods and that.
Let the dogs rest now and
That's
get
it.
a good night's sleep.
That's it. I'll get them, go and have a drink, I think, yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Great. All right, see you soon.
Find out about Higgscroft gun dogs on its website, link below. For more on Browning guns, go to browning.eu, and for Ely cartridges, see elyhawkltd.com. Thanks, Jose. Now a word about Fieldsports competitions.
Steve from Fieldsports Competitions. I hope you're all keeping well. Now listen, it's February. We're a good few days into the month, but we've still got 17 days to go till we draw this month's competitions. So if you've not got yourselves tickets yet, make sure you do. So we've got an Aim Point Acro, we've got Aim Cam Pro 3 glasses, we've got two Zeiss trail cameras. There's also a pair of Bradicos 2 Tasso hunting boots with a 9-inch gate. So if you fancy an extra 9 inches around your ankles this winter, get yourself a ticket with them as well. We've got some Harkeeler binocular pouches, and we've also got a Leica rangefinder. So if you fancy any of these, get yourself on the website, buy yourselves a ticket for one, a ticket for all of them. Spoil yourself. because if you're not in it, you can't win it. But see us this weekend at the British Shooting Show. I'll be there on Sunday and hope to see you then. And if you are there and you haven't got a ticket, you'll be buying one on Sunday. See you soon.
Thanks, Steve. Our podcast this week is all about the value of shooting, a new report sponsored by BASC and other shooting organisations, which shows what we are worth to the UK economy. Last July at the Carter-Jonas Game Fair Theatre, I interviewed BASC Chief Executive Ian Bell. Here's a clip.
Numbers are important. And we've had a number of people say, well, what use is this? Will you really be able to use it? Well, we've had a campaign running with the Labour Party since 2019, because we could see the writing on the wall. And we've been using a lot of the PASEC figures, but now, in the general election called when it was, we brought forward the publication of this. We furnished, through our lobbying company, the various offices with this information, and those numbers are important. Some people have questioned me on, for example, the PASEC stuff. Okay, well, I was aware of that before I worked in this sector. I was interviewed for this job 7 years ago. I used those figures. Clarkson used those figures in a recent Times article however many months ago. They are used and people have them in their head. And that's what we want with this. We want this to be used as a weapon in our armoury in order to just prove our worth to society.
Thanks, Ian. There's a link to the full podcast below. And that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please visit our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on X and TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, or pop your email address into our weekly newsletter box and we'll contact you about this show, Fieldsports Britain. It's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.